delivery of my 2013 Mini Cooper S Coupe on July 26. I bought my car from Carvana and sold them my 2021 Mercedes GLA. I had a 100-point inspection done through my mechanic and used Carvana's warranty company, Silver Rock, to do some necessary repairs. In this video, I'm going to go into the details of the actual buying process, how long it took from start to finish, what documents I needed to supply to Carvana, how registration and financing was handled, and what the delivery process was like. Hi, I'm Niki. Welcome to Paws Bound. So if you've seen my other video on selling my car, then you know that I no longer wanted to make large car payments. Dawn and I are on a debt payoff journey that we hope will conclude this January. But to do that, I had to get rid of my Mercedes. Now, there was nothing wrong with her, quite the opposite. She was a fantastic car, and I don't have any regrets purchasing her. She was just too expensive, and she couldn't be towed. And I'll save that detail for a future video. Seeing as Dawn had a good experience with Carvana in the past, and they were willing to give me $4,000 more than what I owed for my Mercedes, I decided to sell and purchase through them. I'll break down the good and the bad in this video. Okay, so let's start with getting a quote on my Mercedes with Carvana. So this was pretty easy. I just entered my VIN that I got for my insurance card, and I checked off any extra features that my car had, which unless you have the original window sticker, it can be kind of hard to remember all of the extras on your vehicle. So this all happened on July 21st, and my offer was only good until July 28th, at which time I would have to repeat the process, possibly getting more for my trade or losing value. The next step with Carvana was the fun part, actually, and that was searching for a car. We had narrowed down our choice to a Mini Cooper, eliminating the Fiat from the list. And now that I had a trade-in quote, every time I looked at a Mini Cooper, Carvana would show my trade-in value on the price details screen of the car I was interested in. When I put the deposit down on that 2016 Mini Cooper, I wasn't sure how long the car would stay in the pre-purchase phase. So I had to do some research on that, and I read through some Reddit threads before I got a consistent answer of approximately 18 days. I didn't really want to take a chance on losing value in my trade by waiting the full 18 days. And I wasn't even sure when the 18-day countdown began. I really wish that Carvana would state on the pre-purchases something like, this car is in the pre-purchase phase where we're getting it ready for purchase, and it's going to be another 12 days before you can purchase it. Something like that. That would have been helpful. And you're able to change your mind at any time when starting a pre-purchase or during the purchase process itself. The next day when I saw the coupe, which is what I really wanted, I wanted a coupe or a roadster, I canceled the pre-purchase of that 2016 Mini Cooper, which was really easy to do. I simply clicked a cancel purchase button, and that was it. I was told my $100 deposit would go back to my source of payment within, I think, 7 to 10 days, which is standard. After discussing the coupe with Dawn the next morning and reviewing the Carfax for any accidents or issues, I jumped on this car rather quickly, and I clicked the Get Started button to start the purchase process of purchasing the coupe on Carvana. And as part of the process, you have the option to either finance the car or pay for it in cash. I chose to finance the car as I wasn't quite ready to pay for it in full at the time of purchase. I was directed to a pre-approval process through Carvana and was actually able to choose the term that I wanted. I believe it defaults you to like a 5 or 6 year term. I chose 3 years, but I knew I would only be carrying this loan for like a month or two. Carvana will pull a hard credit pull, so just be prepared to have your credit score go down a few points. You'll be able to see your APR and your monthly payment, and I believe you save some money each month if you enroll in autopay. You'll also get the option of choosing Carvana Care, which are like various warranties like gap coverage, but be careful. They roll that into the price of the life of the loan. So while it may seem like a low price initially, you're actually paying for it with every monthly payment, and it will increase your monthly payment. I honestly never choose extended warranties or gap insurance when I purchase vehicles, much to the dismay of the finance and insurance guy at dealerships. I think it's a sales tactic, and they make money off of selling these warranties. And in my experience, they've been pretty pushy in the past trying to get me to buy these warranties. So at this point, it was time to upload some items to get the ball rolling on the purchase. So once you start the purchase process through Carvana, you'll be able to do any kind of required document uploading through your Carvana dashboard. You can also call Carvana and they can add a link to your dashboard for any specific item that they're looking for. The first thing that I uploaded was a picture of the front and back of my driver's license. I then had to go out to my car and take a picture of my odometer for the Mercedes since I was trading in my car with Carvana. I also had to provide Carvana with a payoff quote for my Mercedes. However, what I supplied to them wasn't sufficient enough. It was a screenshot from the app. So what ended up happening was Carvana did a three-way call with Mercedes Finance for a verbal authorization on payoff, as well as a written authorization with a 10-day payoff that was emailed to me, and I uploaded it to my Carvana dashboard. However, and this part was weird, when I was providing the initial payoff information, I was asked on the dashboard for a per diem, and that's all it said. It wasn't entirely clear what Carvana was looking for, which was a daily interest rate that was being charged during that 10-day payoff. Since I didn't have that information on my Mercedes app, I had to do some math to calculate exactly how much interest I was paying on my car each day. Luckily, it matched up to what the Mercedes finance advisor stated on our three-way conference call. Okay, so the other thing is the delivery fee. So my car was coming from Massachusetts. And the only reason why I know that is because I called Carvana to inquire as to where the car was actually at. Also, when looking through the Carfax records that Carvana provides, they showed two owners and service records. I was able to see when and where the car was purchased and what service was performed and when and where the car was registered. During the life of the car, it had been in two states. It had been in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. And the delivery fee was high. It was going to cost me $1,590 to get the car delivered to Florida. And you can't finance the delivery fee. It has to be paid either before the car is delivered or at the time of delivery. It was the only out-of-pocket expense that I had to pony up before taking possession of the car. And when you're searching for cars on Carvana, the delivery fee and the delivery date, they're shown for you. I started the process on Monday, July 21st, and before I clicked the Get Started button to purchase the vehicle, it showed me that $1,590 delivery fee and stated, get this car by Saturday, July 26th. The other thing I had to provide to Carvana, and I think I had like 2 days to do this, was proof of insurance. Now, I'm not sure if this is standard across the United States or if it varies state by state, but in Florida, you have to get an insurance policy on the car that you're buying before you actually take possession of the vehicle. So I first called my insurance company that was insuring the Mercedes, but couldn't get my agent to call me back in a timely manner. So I then did some searching and I settled on Progressive to insure the Mini Cooper. And that was another very easy process, all done online. Once I had my quote and selected my coverages, I was able to get my insurance card almost immediately. And I uploaded this to Carvana. This wasn't the first time I had to provide Carvana with this information. They stated to me a few times during the week while I was waiting for the car to make sure that I had my insurance card ready at delivery. And I had to show it again to the Carvana delivery driver, which Carvana calls an advocate. I wanted a seamless delivery experience with Carvana, and I decided to pay the delivery fee online the next day and just get that part over with. And that was it initially, and then I waited. Now, a few things came up during the week that I called Carvana about, one of which was registration. I ended up paying for new tags even though I had a trade-in. Typically, when I've purchased a car in the past through the traditional route of a car dealership, the finance and insurance person will just transfer the tags, I'll sign some paperwork, and the existing tags will be placed on the new car. So when I was looking over all of my paperwork, I noticed that I was being mailed new tags. I called up Carvana and I told them that I would prefer not to deal with the DMV and to just transfer my tags over from my Mercedes to my Mini Cooper. And they said that that wouldn't be a problem, and they put a link on my dashboard for me to take a picture of my existing car registration so that they can handle the transfer. Since the purchase process was already completed, they indicated that during their quarterly audits is when my purchase details would be reviewed and when I would be reimbursed for buying new tags versus transferring my existing tags. So I have a feeling I'm probably not going to see a reimbursement check from Carvana for at least another couple of months. And by the way, I have yet to receive my registration for the Mini Cooper, even though my Carvana dashboard shows the registration process is complete and plates and tags are on their way. Okay, so let's talk about the delivery process now. So regarding the tags and the plates, when Carvana delivers your car, temporary plates are going to be attached to the car and they're valid for 30 days. And that's good because it's been almost 2 weeks now since my car was delivered. I couldn't find anything more recent than 3 years ago about Carvana's delivery process and what it was like for other people when I looked on Reddit. And 3 years ago, we were still coming out of the pandemic. So car deliveries were being delayed by a week or more. I was able to call Carvana and kind of check the status, meaning they would tell me that there weren't any notes on my account to indicate any delays in the process. And I wasn't able to track the car's movement at all from Massachusetts to Florida. And that would have been a nice feature, to actually see the car's shipment progress. I did, however, get text messages and emails saying, "One more day left, your Mini Cooper's arriving tomorrow. Please bring your license and your insurance to the appointment." On the actual day of delivery, I got another text message and an email saying, "Today is the day," and yet another reminder about bringing my license and my insurance card. I was given a 3-hour delivery window as well. And on my Carvana dashboard, it had the ability to track when the car was en route to my house, but nothing ever moved. I never saw any tracking. I chose to have the car delivered rather than going to the Carvana Tampa location. I figured I was paying $1,500 for it to be delivered, so it might as well come all the way to my house. Also, I wasn't sure once I started this process if I could put any additional mileage on my Mercedes. There really wasn't any guidance on this from Carvana. I did call them about this during the week, and they said as long as you aren't putting on a lot of miles on your car, I believe she said like 1,000 miles, then it would be okay. But I didn't feel comfortable with that because I had signed an odometer statement saying that the mileage I initially uploaded was the true mileage of the car, and it was. Also, on the day of delivery, I had to sign all of the paperwork that you traditionally sign at a dealership: retail purchase agreement, buyer's guide, installment contract, arbitration agreement, odometer statement, much more. And I actually called Carvana when the delivery window was closing in. My car was supposed to be delivered between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. and it was already 1 p.m. and I hadn't seen any movement on the app or heard from the advocate. So I'm sitting and waiting patiently, maybe rather impatiently, for our car to be delivered. We had a window of 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and it is now around 12:30, and I just got a call about maybe 10 minutes ago from the driver that says that he's loading it up and he should be here about 1:30, 1:45. So, that window of time, yeah, he's going to be towards the end of that time, which, it's fine. He's still within the window. It's just, we've been waiting for this car for a week, and I have not driven my car at all because I didn't want to put any more miles on it. So we're waiting and waiting. We're going to get some lunch delivered here
from Uber Eats, some Charlie's sandwiches. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited and I'm just nervous about it too. You know, I'm nervous about giving up my vehicle in exchange for a vehicle that is 12 years old and has more mileage on it than mine. But, you know, this is all part of our financial goal, is to be free of car payments. So let's hope everything's going to go okay. I'm also going to take it to my mechanic, a European mechanic, on Monday, 7:30 in the morning. So I'll drop it off then and they'll tell me whether it's okay or not. So stay tuned.
And sure enough, he showed up around 1:45 with my Mini Cooper loaded on the flatbed truck. Once he unloaded the car, he looked at my license and my insurance card. Don and I checked out the Mini Cooper as the advocate walked around and took pictures of my Mercedes. We asked if we could take the Mini Cooper for a quick spin while he checked out my trade and loaded it up on the same flatbed truck that my Mini Cooper was on. We took the Mini Cooper for a drive and she handled great, and she was in better condition than we had hoped, seeing that she was, 12 years old. When we got back from the test drive, my Mercedes was already loaded up on the flatbed, ready to go. And I was sad to see her go, but I knew that we were making a conscious effort to improve our financial situation. So what did I think about the entire Carvana experience? Well, overall, I have to agree with my husband, who had a great experience selling his Jeep 2 years ago to Carvana. I thought it was a pretty smooth experience that went really well for me. Don and I both hate going to car dealerships and dealing with salespeople. This was the first time that we had ever bought a car completely online, and it was so nice not to have to go into a dealership and spend all day test driving and working the numbers on my trade and on the car that I was buying. Everything was straightforward. Carvana even offers you a 7-day money-back guarantee. You have 7 days in which to contact them if you aren't satisfied with the car you bought. And you have 3 opportunities to purchase something else if you aren't satisfied. Our advocate made sure we knew this at the time of delivery. You can also reject the car on the spot if you don't want to go through with the sale, although you will lose out on your delivery fee. My Mini Cooper was delivered on a Saturday, and the following Monday, I had her in the shop going through the 100-point inspection with my mechanic. I'm going to do a video on what my mechanic found, what service I had done, and what it was like dealing with Silver Rock, which is Carvana's warranty company, as well as what it's like paying down my loan and working with Bridgecrest, which is Carvana's finance company. I hope you enjoyed this video on what it was like to sell and buy a car through Carvana. Let me know down in the comments what your experience was like with Carvana. Did you have a good experience like I did, or was it a total nightmare? Thanks for watching, and until next time, hasta luego, my friends.